Hey, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Brian Bowman here. And today I want to share with you probably the best piece of branding advice I've ever gotten. I mean, definitely one of the most impactful, one of the most influential pieces of branding advice that I've ever gotten. It was from a friend of mine, a dear friend of mine, Juju Hook. She's amazing. She was a branding expert for like Fortune 500 companies, like huge companies, for over 25 years. And man, she taught me so much about branding. Um, and this is probably the most important thing. I mean, there's a lot of really important things she shared with me. One of them, which isn't what I want to talk about today, but just came to mind, was building transformational brands, not transactional brands. So many things that we do can become transactional. And she had these really amazing analogies. Like, she had a great way of telling stories and creating analogies that were very visual for something that's very theoretical, right? Like, branding is very theoretical, but she had a great way of creating these visuals. And one of them was, she kind of said, like, imagine all of your superpowers, and the biggest pain points that people have, or the biggest aspirations they have, right? Biggest pain points or aspirations, and the intersection of those pain points and aspirations and your superpower, the intersection, like that point where they meet, like that's the transformation that your brand gives. Really amazing stuff. That to me helped frame so many things that I do now, and so many things that I teach my students and clients, and a lot of things that we do in our programs. And in fact, she was a guest expert. So we have a program called the Underground. It's our monthly program for e-commerce sellers, and we have a monthly guest expert that comes on. And she was one of the experts. She was amazing. It's still one of my favorite talks. Of like an hour of her just giving value. And we have people who come in, all different skill sets, like people who are, successful brand owners sharing strategies, things that have worked for them, down to like specific things, specific skills like branding or marketing or advertising, or or even human optimization. Like my buddy Anthony DiClementi came on and shared some really cool biohacking stuff to get more energy, more focus. And in the expert session, there was one thing that was one of the biggest takeaways, and that's what I want to talk about today. And it's understanding the touch points in your business and how we translate those to moments of truth. Now, this is a critical part of what we talk about in everything that we do. And I talk about it here on the show. I talk about it in our intensive program. I talk about it in our underground program. It really is one of the tenets of our business, is understanding how to manufacture and create touch points, and taking those touch points as opportunities to have moments of truth. So let me explain what that means. And I'll actually use the example that she used in our expert session. She was talking about how she had ordered, I think she was getting ready to go on like a vacation to Hawaii or something. And she wanted to get a cover up for a bathing suit. So she went on Amazon, of course, right? And ordered 8 of them, which is what most people do, right? Order 8 of these things and then like pick the favorite one and return it. And if you're an e-commerce seller, you'll think this is pretty funny, and you'll understand what's going on in a second here. So she orders 8 of them, and she goes, I swear they all looked exactly the same. And it was funny because everyone in the group is a private label seller. Like, we all know how it works, right? You go on Alibaba or wherever, you find a manufacturer overseas, especially with something like a cover up, right? You're just going to find whatever's out there, something that looks good, decent quality. Get your bag, get a poly bag, right? Slap your logo on it, and it's the same. And that's what she said. She's like, all of these came in a poly bag. They all looked exactly the same. I pulled them out. They all looked identical. And she said, but there was one that created, and these were all touch points. And I'll talk about touch points. Like, you have so many in your business, and I'll share one specific company that literally has 25 touch points before they get a sale from a customer on purpose. But she had all these laid out. She says, but there was one, because this was a touch point. This is a point where the brand and the customer met, or the potential customer, because she was going to return most of these. She's like, they all came in the same poly bag, but one of them had a really nice bag. Like, it was a poly bag, but it was like the plastic was just a little bit nicer. And when she opened it up, so there's moment of truth one. Moment of truth is that moment where you go, like, this brand's a little bit different. There's something different about them, right? So she opens the bag, which we already felt a little bit different. So something as simple as how the bag feels, probably a compostable bag, right? Opens it, and she takes out the cover up, and there's a little card. And it's a little manifesto, basically, of saying who we are, right, as women, and what fashion means for them. I forgot what the details were, but it was a little manifesto and I think a little saying like, go be you, or something. She said that was it. So even though it's all the exact same product in every single one of those bags, and we know what those companies were doing. They were just private labeling it. They were getting from China, whatever it was. They were shipping it out, and they were all the same. Yet that one had that touch point and that moment of truth. Well, they all had touch points, but that one had that moment of truth, and it actually had multiple moments of truth. And now her perception of the product completely changed. So the main thing was that's the one she kept, and she even said she kept the card, put it in her bathroom. And now, do you think that's good real estate for you to be occupying as a brand owner? You've just sold someone something, and now every day when they wake up, they see your card that's telling them how like special they are and go be awesome. Yeah, that's going to help average order value in the future, and it's going to help frequency of purchase. And if anything, that's going to help referral traffic. So it's there's a lot of real financial, like economical reasons to do this, and it's just a simple insert. We do store deep dives. This is another sort of bonus in the underground and in the intensive where I break down a brand. And I actually just bought this watch as one of our deep dives because I wanted to sort of see what they were doing, and they did some really cool stuff with their product inserts, and I took pictures of it all because that's part of building up a swipe file. So the main point that I want to share with you today is to not take these touch points for granted. There's a lot of noise out there, right? A lot of static, a lot of noise going on. Even right now, this is a touch point. You watching this, you listening to this is a touch point. And for you might be listening to this and might be like, oh, okay, whatever. But for another you might be listening to this and saying, okay, that's pretty cool. And then that becomes a moment of truth. Like there's a connection. And obviously I hope to build that relationship over time. And that's part of that nurturing period with our potential customers and even with our customers ongoing. And we always try to create these moments of truth every time. It makes a massive difference. And it's something that we always want to be attuned to. Be attuned to it when you open packages. Be attuned when you get a phone call. And one thing you'll find, this blows my mind, by the way, is how easy it is to be extraordinary. It sounds so like it's so easy to stand out because so many people are busy being ordinary and like businesses busy being ordinary. How many times have you been in a restaurant and you're like, damn, if they would have just given me a menu that didn't have like food stains on it, are you kidding me? Like, how hard is that? Or they give you a crinkled up like piece of paper as a menu. Like, just give me a clean menu. Like, I'm about to eat here, right? Like, I want to have a certain feeling. These moments of truth all add up. And it's not any one. It's like compound interest. This is law of compounding. It's not any one moment of truth or any one touch point that makes or breaks the customer experience. They compound, okay? So it's like not any one interest payment. It's the interest on the interest on the interest on the interest that ultimately, creates wealth, right? Makes you rich. Well, the thing that actually builds goodwill is not any one touch point. It's not any one thing where people are like, whoa, I'm going to buy from you. It's just that constant, just those touch points. They start to build those moments of truth. They start to build and compound, and they're everywhere. The opportunities are everywhere. And that's really what gets people to buy. There's some people, and statistically, it's a very small percentage of the population that's driven purely on price. Okay. So to think that you always have to compete on price is actually one of the most harmful things you can do for your business. What you really want to do is build those moments of truth, because that's what actually starts to build value and build goodwill. One of my early mentors and someone I still respect a ton is Frank Kern. He has kind of an equation he always shares. He says the amount of revenue you make will always be directly proportional to the amount of goodwill you have with your audience and the number of offers you make. And those two things go hand in hand. Build goodwill, make offers, your revenue goes up. How do you build goodwill? You turn those touch points into moments of truth. L'Oreal, I mentioned I was going to share one example, L'Oreal, and I've shared this before, but L'Oreal engineers, like they purposely have 24 or 25 touch points. They shared this in some stats, 24 or 25 touch points before a customer buys, a bottle of goo and a bottle of like skincare goo, right? They have this happening, and whether it's emails, ads, direct mailers, text message, desktop notifications, whatever it is. Like there's all these different moments of truth or touch points that turn into moments of truth, and they do that intentionally. So they build real brand loyalty and goodwill before people actually buy, and it has real financial reasons for doing it, like very economic reasons, because it increases average order value, increases frequency of purchase, and ultimately increases the number of people that will refer your brand to their friends, which obviously is good for everybody. So there you have it. Make sure mainly that you're just keeping your eyes peeled for those touch points, because they're everywhere in your business, and keeping your eyes peeled for how to make them just ordinary touch points into moments of truth where people stop, they think, they go, very cool. I like what they're doing. I'm willing to pay attention more, because attention is that's the most important thing you have, because you can ultimately leverage that into goodwill, leverage it into sales, and into profit. So go ahead, go create moments of truth with your prospects, with your customers, and go make more sales and make the world a better place. So talk to you soon. Have an amazing rest of your day. Bye.